Well, we had no game plan at the beginning. We didn't even intend to be a band.
Tinjar, Banchoi, Sad, Art, 9, 2, anche Barotero. Giotto Ponero Solo, Saturato, Nuscuri, Eco Spice. 1, 2, Asian Dub Foundation in the area.
We started out in '93, like 10 years ago, possibly this month, from a workshop situation. There was no kind of intention for us to turn out to be some kind of international touring band, or even be a band at all. I was just doing some workshops with some Asian youth at Community Music, and we just continued to work after these initial workshops ended.
So I think from first principles is that we never thought, it would go 10 years. I think, and probably why it has gone 10 years is because there was never a plan to it. It just started off with small ideas, just like doing what was originally a film workshop. Sound became a little sound system, and then progressed into a band. And people have come and gone within the band, but the core of it is sort of pretty much constant. And the sort of like attitudes, sort of ethos is still there as it has been. We've always been quite independent. We've always been willing to go different places, and we've always sought out new audiences.
We had things to say musically, lyrically. We had a lot of stuff that we needed to express. The impetus was the kind of, I guess, political environment of the time. There was a lot of racist attacks going on. You had the election of Derek Beacon, Britain's first fascist councillor, unfortunately not the last. And it was happening right next door to where we were. We were based in Farringdon. So we could just feel all this stuff around us going on.
We want you to bounce to this one. Tell me, Marseille, are you ready to bounce? All right. Let's see you bounce to this one.
We shall see. It's the rhythm you like, rhythm we like.
It's the rhythm I like, Marseille. We want to see you bounce.
Bounce, bounce with it.
Bounce, bounce, bounce. Yo, Marseille, qu'est-ce qui se passe?
No, Marseille. This is the rhythm I like. Bass.
Keep bouncing, keep bouncing. People at the back.
Marseille, qu'est-ce qui se passe? this the rhythm I like, put it on.
I met Dr. Das through an advert in 1990 in a defunct London listings magazine called City Limits. And the advert was for black Asian musicians required for experimental dub noise projects.
When ADF were on tour and coming to Canada, my friend phoned me and let me know they were coming, and then after that, John phoned me and said, look, we're in Toronto, come down to this gig, because I was doing music in Canada at the time, and on a visit to London, John let me hear some stuff of ADF, and I let him hear some stuff I was doing. So when they came to Toronto, we still had that connection, so John got a hold of me, and I went to see the gig, and that was the first time I saw ADF live. I was so impressed, I was so taken back. Like, I felt like I was at one of my first concerts again, after years and years of going to see bands play. So then I said I want to come to more shows, and they were very accommodating, tore out pages from their itinerary and said, come here, and come here, and come there. So that was me booked for about the next 4 or 5 days, travelled about 1,000 miles in my car, and then after that, they said, hey, if you want to keep doing music, and I did, and I was doing it in Canada, they said, why don't you come to London and do this course at Community Music, which I was well into because I was using electronics and programming to make music, and also, mixing in Indian sounds. So, and I hit the ceiling in Canada. It was getting a bit frustrating, and I think I had done all I could do. So it's like that was my calling to go to London.
I met the band. I used to go to a youth centre around my area in East London, and basically a lot of youth just go there, and there was a youth worker there who knew the band, knew Pandit G, because he used to work with Pandit G before, and so I was always interested in making music and this and that. So I was asking the youth worker to hook me up to learn music technology. So he hooked up a workshop for me to go to, and this workshop, the tutor, was Dr. Das and Chandra Sonic. So that's when I first met the band, first heard of Asian Dub Foundation. When I met them, I was really inspired, seeing them, the kind of music that they're making, and I made a track, I performed, and I really enjoyed doing that, and I just thought to myself from then that is something that I want to do.
Yeah. Pandit Dr. Das, Chandra Sonic, Rocky Singh, Cyber, Activator, MC Specs.
Well, back in 1999, I think I joined the Asian Dub Foundation workshop, and that consists of a 10-week course, making your own music, access to studio equipment, and it was strictly voluntary, on a volunteer basis, and you just you attend this course once a week for 10 weeks, and there was a chance to. At that time, I was a vocalist, MCing, DJing, jungle, drum and bass. That was the scene that I was coming from. That was where I was coming from, and we just wanted to make our own beats. Me and Activator, we joined this same course at the same time. At the end of this Asian Dub Foundation workshop, you get your own song. They mix it down for you, they burn it to CD, and you get to perform it in a venue, a decent sized venue, somewhere local, a little showcase. All the other workshops all together, all as one. And after we did this, we had one track at the time, and then the band were there present when we was performing it, and they enjoyed what they heard, and they let us basically use the studio when and when we wanted. So basically we was there every day. After that, just making tunes, rolling the beats.
So both me and Specs, we did this. The first place we did our first ADF show was in Brazil, and that was just a mind-blowing experience. The best place I've been. The first place I went and done an ADF show, it was just amazing, meeting people and everything. just the culture, the language, the weather. I could just go on and on, yeah. But you know, Brazil, we toured like in Brazil for like, we done 4 shows and we stayed there I think about 10 days, 11 days, 14 days, and like just the crowd there, the energy, just, you know, just fucking mad. And like we met other bands from Brazil like Nassau Zombie, Afro Reggae, Ohapa, and these bands, I'm telling you, they just blew me away. Like especially Afro Reggae, this band, they were from the favela in Rio de Janeiro. You know what the favela is, right? It's like one of the poorest places, you know, bear shootings, dangerous, you know. We had to go into the favela with like a guy that was from the favela. He had to take us in there, so we was like safe.
So it's been an ongoing process, and it's a bit hard for, I suppose, ourselves within the band because we live and breathe it. And I think perhaps, you know, a few years' time, then we could look at this 10-year period with a bit more objectivity. But you are caught in the middle of it. It's totally subjective. This year we've done 85 gigs since February, you know, so by the end of this year we'll have done 105, 106. So you get you're right in the middle of it, so sometimes you don't see it all as it goes along. In terms of music we put out, you know, we're all very pleased with it. You know, many bands in 10 years would go back and go, oh, that album we did in '97, oh, how outrageous it was, you know, how, oh God, what possessed us. But I think all the music we've done, recorded or shows, you know, we're all pretty pleased about it, how it's worked out.
I like the beats, the rhythms. I heard them many years ago. However, I didn't really start getting into them until maybe 3 years ago. And then I bought 2 CDs. I like the Eastern music with the drum and bass, like the crossover of like East meets West. Political statements always good. I guess it's the feeling for me, mainly. What is this for?
The fan base is very diverse and you don't know where it comes, and also the nature nowadays of modern sort of communication technology is that a lot of people have heard of you who, through sort of the non-traditional radio exposure to video exposure, all those things, they've heard it, they've got it off the internet, they've got your music, or you know, it's being passed around. You go to Eastern Europe and people don't actually buy very many CDs because they're so expensive, so things get, you know, tapes, whatever, get passed around and people hear of you that way. And then if you do a lot of festivals, then obviously people might just catch you by accident. You know, they're waiting for the next band and you come on and then they see you. So it's very hard to define who the exact core audience is.
Oh, I like playing small places because, you know, you really like the energy's just thick, you know. It's just hot in there, and it's like you know, you could see when someone just, you know, takes off to the bog or is at the bar. Like they're very much a part of you know, what you see, just like how they're seeing you. You really engage. When it's a big place, okay, some are better than others, but in most cases, when you do really big gigs, you know, it can get a bit kind of ridiculous, you know. We've done some shows where you know, people are so far out, it's like they're at the skyline or something, and I think even for them, you kind of small. I like personally smaller places. Somebody else might say they like bigger places, but I like small ones.
All right, Zurich, how you doing? This is the Asian Dub Foundation.
Sounds of the Asian Dub Foundation, are you ready? Cyberman! Okay, Zurich! Rocky, come down.
One of the problems that we have in contemporary music, especially in Britain, is like the music being left behind, everyone talking about the fights and everyone talking about the conflicts and things like that. It's like, it's a tabloid mentality, you know. Well, no, I mean, it's very exhausting. There are a lot of unseen frustrations, like, you know, waiting 3 hours in an airport, only to go to another airport and wait 6 hours, you know what I mean? Things like this. Sleep can be hard to come by. You know, there's all that kind of stuff. Also being with the same people in such a small space for a very long periods of time, you know, causes a lot of problems. I think the boredom is very, I don't think people realise how boring it is, actually can be. Like, as you saw yesterday, I mean, that place, say, was like very sterile environment in the middle of nowhere. So you can't really do anything except hang around. It's a very, until you actually walk on stage and there's people there, which is very lifeless and dead, you know what I mean? And also you might have to listen to, you can't escape from sometimes dreadful music, like they've stuck on some heavy metal band before you or something like that, and you have to put up with that, you know. All these things, but you know, in any job there's going to be downside. I just think in music the extremes are far more extreme. It's like the highs look very high, the lows can be very low. But I think that's also the kind of person you are. And I am that kind of person, I think. Very high or very low. Not much in between.
Beckett. I do sound for Asian Dub Foundation and a bit of production. I've been with them for about 8 years. Sound, which is what I do, live sound for Asian Dub. What do I do? We do a lot of touring. We're a lot on the road. Every day we're in a different country. And my job is to get a very hard sound, very sonic sound, very broad depth sound in every venue we go. And we don't use the same equipment. We go with our own equipment. So I'm having to work on different equipment every day to get basically, a very heavy sound, which ain't easy. My attitude to that is I spec a certain amount of gear that I need on every show. But for this band, it's quite basic. Because from my personal perspective, I don't like to have the same thing every day. Very interesting for me to watch the difference between the way they attack the business from the way my other acquaintances used to attack the business. They have a completely, it's almost non-musical, as most is musical. They know really, the music is very important, but it's not the be and end all. And they're not worried about how they look in the sense of clothes they wear and stuff. They're more interested about issues, like I said, getting things like access to technology, information, stuff like that. And they're not pop stars. They're not interested in being, on top of the pops or whatever. That's not really. I mean, if it comes, they'll do it. Which is, like I said, it's a completely different ball game from the normal pop thing, which is basically alien to this, and probably why this has gone on without major success in England, where they're all born, which is amazing. And I mean, you come to a gig, any London gig, and you see the amount of people that are there and the way that people are raving. It's just amazing that the industry here really doesn't take that much notice of them. But again, they're not worried. We just go around touring everywhere else that does take an interest, and building on that.
Okay, you're on time.
Okay, where should we start? The dub aspect. I don't know. Kind of the bass in ADF is kind of providing the most obvious aspect of what's traditionally called dub music, i.e. a melodic bass line. I mean, for us, dub is much more than reproducing 70s traditional Lee Perry type dub. It's about, for us, it's more about using those principles that they pioneered. This is a melodic instrument. Yeah, the weight, the heaviness, they come as standard, all right? But there's melody in there. In dub music, the bass and the drums, the music is complete. Everything else, guitar is irrelevant. If it wants to come in and join in, fine. But otherwise. If any guitarist told me what to play, I would just simply give him a good slap. That's the only time I use slap. I don't use slap on bass, all right? Only on guitarists. The bass, you realise you're going home and the bass line's in your head. It's playing a tune, all right? And you realise that doesn't exist. You check out any indie bands, it's very, very rare that any melody is being played by the bass. I think it's a real shame. I think a lot more British bass players should stand up for themselves and say, look, I want to express myself as well.
So this is the nerve centre of the operation. Goes on here. Sort of. We have all our tracks are on here, all through the desk, already mixed, and then it's mixed out front. And that's all here. So you have to adjust some of these levels. This is lots of the beats, the hi-hats, all those things. And then everything else gets laid on top. The bass, the guitar, tabla, the drums, and this. 2 turntables, samples and bits and bobs, and let's see what I've got on here that I can play. So you can do all that to it, so you can just layer stuff on top. But there's quite a dense pattern of sound anyway, because you've got a lot of percussion. You've got drums, you've got tabla or do, and you've got all the beats. So really what you can use a lot of this for is more slowly, it's more to put sounds over the top. Some of it's for scratching, but I don't really like to do that because these records are quite expensive. Don't want to mess them up, you know what I mean? So don't scratch your records at home, folks.
Hang on, let's just take a lot of this out of the side fills, yeah, and then trim all of the mixes by like a couple of dB, and take it from there. That was Louis.
This instrument here, it's called a tabla. Basically, tabla has been around since the 16th century. Tabla is a classical instrument, very sweet instrument. What it is, as the story has it, the tabla came out of an instrument called a mridangam. Mridangam is a South Indian instrument. It's like that sort of shape. And what happened was, as rumor has it, many centuries ago, a guy had a mridangam and he was taking it from point A to point B, and he dropped it, and it broke in two pieces, and out of that came the tabla. It's really weird. With the tabla we have a high and a low. On the high we have many different sounds. Give an example. Okay, we've got this sound here. That's called a na. Yeah, in tabla terminology. That's na. Tun. Pretty self-explanatory. Tun sounds like the sound itself. You got tin. So there's tin, na, tun, and titta. So you got titta, tin, na, tun. Right. On the bottom end, one sort of sound basically, just the bass sound. And what you can actually do, you can actually control like the pitch bend of the bass sound with that. If you can see it, that's called a callus. And that helps to give it that sort of pitch bend. Yeah? With tabla there are many different rhythm patterns. Tabla doesn't just go by the 4/8 pattern. With tabla you've got 3s, you've got 6, you've got rhythms in 7s, 9s, 11s, and so on. The way tabla fits in with, Asian Dub Foundation. Asian Dub Foundation is very electronically enhanced music-wise. Tabla just adds the more Indian sort of ethnic sort of flavour, semi-classical sort of flavour, and also not just that. What it is with the tabla, it's very good playing by the books, classical, but that's not the way ahead. The way ahead with music is obviously to improvise and to imitate. So what I do with Asian Dub Foundation is I bring many different flavours onto the tabla. I bring, say for instance, a drum kit onto the tabla, whereby you've got different beats, a whole lot of different beats, like hip-hop beats. Drum and bass. And there you have it.
Well, they've asked me to talk about myself as the guitarist in ADF. I suppose I don't really see myself as a conventional guitarist at all, really. Guitarist is just a vehicle for my feelings, I suppose, and well, the guitar is a vehicle for my feelings. I'm certainly not technically. I'm actually quite crude, I suppose, but I don't really have any regard for the conventions. I like strong thematic themes. Thematic themes? That's great, man. I suppose what I do actually is when I think about things that I've really liked in the past, I'm a big fan of all the Funkadelic and Parliaments. On the guitar I really like the early sort of funky Hendrixy style of early Funkadelic very much. I like Keith Levine from Public Image Limited particularly. I like his unconventional attitude. In fact, sometimes it wasn't really like his playing guitar at all, like someone who just picked it up for the first time. I like that. But also a lot of what I play is informed by not necessarily other guitarists, but music like jungle, reggae, funk, the vibe of the guitar within the whole.
Yeah, I'm Rocky Singh, and we are in my little space where I practice my drums. We're in a part of East London called East Ham, and actually it's a very special place for me because this is the house where I grew up and where I returned to when I first came back from Canada. And I don't live here anymore, but I still have the chance to come here and practice my drums. When you start messing about with ADF rhythms, you get all these things combined. You get a quick tempo, you get the edge, but you also get how do I say? You get all these things really just combined: the reggae, the rock, the punk, and you get something like this, like. So, taking beats like that and then putting all those elements combined into the sample-based or drum beat-based beats, rhythms that ADF come up with, you get something like this, which I'll do, something I prepared for you. You get a beat like this. And you just throw something on top. Some pretty heavy drums. It's about having drumming wise, just from a drumming perspective, I think it's about having a lot more fun with the technology and also incorporating as much live feel as live energy as you can, and to push forward and do something new.
What?
I used to be over that side. I moved over this side over the years. I was in the middle for a while, and now I'm over on the right side. It's taken me a long time. There's nothing really much more to say about my setup, really. It's all very lovely. But can you see where I've been placed, though? You see how you get shoved out to the edge? Yeah? Look at this stage. Look, see, drummer right in the middle, right? Tabla player right there. Look at the space they've got. That's bigger than my front garden, that is. And look where they put me. See? Yeah? This is like where the bins usually go, where they put the old crates of drink. And if I hadn't stood my ground here, I'd be down there. They put me down the corridor, look, right at the end. That's where they wanted to put me. It's not good enough. Anyway, we in the union, the National Union of DJs, Nudge, have said it's enough is enough. We stand our ground. Okay? Thank you. That's it, I'm off now. It's overtime, Sunday. Shouldn't be working. Thanks. Yeah, join the union.
I think artists aren't expected to have a philosophy, a perspective on life. In effect, it's all the same, you know what I mean? It's either the standard rock and roll thing, oh, we are rock and roll, we do this, you know, which is just was boring. You know, that kind of attitude was a side product of music, you know. It wasn't even talked, all the groups people who say that love, like Rolling Stones or things like that wasn't talked about when the Rolling Stones were around, you know what I mean? It was like, you know, that was a byproduct, you know. It was only in the late 70s that people started talking about, oh, well, you know, it's about fucking loads and like throwing hotels out of windows, that'd be good. Throwing televisions out of windows and having a heroin habit, you know.
I mean, you're going to get this a lot when we talk about ADF and the music. It's this tag political. And this tag is used by the media and journalists about us, about being political, but no definition. What do you mean political? You know, it's such a grey area and you can't really describe what that is about. Who is political is something that's up for debate, and it's used against us. You often get journalists and the first thing, oh, you're a very political band. And you ask them to define what they mean by political and they just don't know, they don't have an idea. We just talk about what we talk about, and you'll get that from any one of our members if you talk to them. We just talk what we think's relevant, you know. We like to create a debate and we like to be part of that debate, you know, what's going on at the moment. So we just write what we want to write about.
With the stars, listen, that's everything you need to say. It's to stop the war, no wars we're fighting for. Stop the military occupation of Iraq. Fuck l'Assemblée. Merci, au revoir.
We're in the border here of Islington and Tower Hamlets, and in Tower Hamlets we have an organisation called ADFED, which is Asian Dub Foundation Education, and this project is teaching young people music technology.
You can hear on the headphones perfectly. My name's Sonia, Sonia Mehta. I'm the manager of ADFED, and I have been for the last 1.5 years. Since I started, I've redeveloped the organisation. The organisation's been around since '98. So it's 6 years now, coming up to 6 years. It was October '98, and it was always under the umbrella of CM, formerly Community Music, who supported us, supported the ADF members in basically setting up this organisation. We're not a Fame Academy, you know, we're not pop idols, so we're not here to kind of churn out stars. But the fact that young people who come to the course each and every time go away with something that they've produced is a big achievement, not just for us but for them, particularly because we target excluded groups and underrepresented groups. So just by virtue of the fact that they get here is a big thing. Although I say that lightly, we're not advocates for the music industry. Basically what they do here is they come to learn a specific course which you've just seen, and it's just working with technologies and working with technologies that help them understand how to make a piece of music and what's involved in that process.
I mean, basically I've been aware about ADF's music and also education activities for a number of years, and I do a lot of other education work around the capital, but actually coming to work here it's been fairly unprecedented for me in terms of the whole ethos that supports and underpins the education approach here.
Shift. Okay, what do you want to do then? What do you want to do? Enough time. Can I give you a suggestion for tomorrow?
Yeah.
I think it's
I don't think, instead of getting the
That's
tunes
okay,
or
we
the
can do
voices,
this.
we should just...
My name's Riz Maslin and I'm a tutor, or what's the other word? A worker, a youth worker. I mean, I don't really like to use the word teacher because it's not about teaching here, it's about passing on and encouragement.
We don't mind the F word. There's one word that we do not like though. It begins with C.
Oh. Otherwise known as See You Next
See you
Tuesday.
next Tuesday, as I call it.
Historically, Adfed hasn't had a great history in terms of getting young women onto the course, and that's largely because it's always been dominated by men, and then you have it's compounded when you come from a culture where women aren't seen, they're kind of invisible in this kind of industry, and that's not just in Asian communities, in black communities. You're getting it now, but I mean, how many British female black artists do you really see that are actually saying something about young people's issues or issues on the street? So that's why, certainly when I came into Post-it, it's one thing that I need. I felt like I needed to represent.
And a lot of the young people we deal with, a lot of the time through no fault of their own, but through the education system, have been left behind purely because they might not have, an academic mind. And so unfortunately, a lot of them end up being excluded.
It was good. No. You're going to bring some CDs. Music in there. So maybe if you find some beats or something you want to kind of, mimic, copy, just bring some beats in and we'll sample those up and then we can try and build our own around them.
I'll bring them in. You going to bring in some CDs?
Yeah, I'm going to get some DVDs as well, some lyrics from the DVDs and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
What do I want to communicate? It's like, basically I want to make the world hear different types, different tunes, and not all the same type of things. You get me? But I don't know how to explain it here, but it's really hard to explain how to what you think about music. But at the end of the day, it's you got your own judgment about music here, and my judgment is I don't know how to explain it, but I want to create my own things. The way you have see music basically. That's about it.
No, it's just that I've wanted my mum, from day I wanted my mum to do some music with me, and she's like, no, I could never see, but on her own she'd always be singing to do with me, and tell me, yeah, I made up a song about you today. But when it come to it, my mum passed away this year, so that's why I have to get somewhere for her to do with music. I promised her anyway. Don't matter to do with beats or sing out, I just have to do something with music. And that's for a fact.
If you're a musician, you're no different from anyone else, and you don't have anything else with. It's only in Western tradition that being a musician gives you this kind of false sense of that you're a bit above everyone else. Yeah. Most of us are just musicians, and we're just doing our stuff. So it's natural. It's hard then to impart that on other generations who grow up watching MTV. You know, and it's hard saying when we're teaching in music workshops. A lot of kids say, "Well, I just be a star." It's different from saying, "I want to make this kind of music. I want to make some new music that's different from anything else, or that's particularly mine, or particularly new, or that's going to challenge a lot of people, or it's got something to say." It's easier to follow the 50% route. You know, there's 50% Snoop Doggy or whatever. It's all bling bling, and somehow that's become justified in society, that bling bling is the way, you know, that you make your money and good luck to you, you know, get rich or die trying.
I am Steve Chandra, aka Chandra Sonic from Asian Dub Foundation. I'd like to welcome you to this wonderful space that's been given to me by none other than the English National Opera. Opera, you say? Yes, indeed. I've, out of a very almost off-the-cuff remark that I made a few months ago, I have embarked upon the course of writing an opera for myself, obviously, and for the English National Opera and for ADF. It's going to be quite a long-term project, unfortunately. I'm sworn to secrecy. I can't tell you much about the actual subject matter. This is a little bit controversial, so we have to keep it under wraps, but I'm dying to tell everyone. So this is Louis Beckett, who's actually party to the secret. Cut. You didn't film that as well, did you? Oh, we did. Yes, we did.
We always need to be aware that, like, after 10 years, you've got to start thinking about what's the next thing? What do you really need to do next? We've been all around Europe. We've been to Japan. There's many countries we haven't been to. We haven't been to Russia. We haven't been to much of Africa. And there, you know, we haven't been in Eastern Europe that much, or Southeast Asia and South Asia. And there's initiatives on that way. We're doing a little thing, working with some indigenous people in Western Sahara, and that might be a little jam we do in the summer, working with War on One, and that might be a start of something else. Very much where we go inspires us to do different things, like Brazil. It just kicks us into looking at music in a different way and developing up different sounds and using those different sounds in our music. So yeah, there's still a few more places we haven't been to yet. We'd like to do that and then see where that takes us in terms of musical output. But we have done a lot of places. There's a lot of work we've done, and we've done thousands of concerts in the past 10 years. And it still keeps going.
Well guys, I hope you enjoyed this time. It's a little snapshot of what we do, and perhaps insight to where we're from and why we do what we do. And hopefully see you soon in the future with us.
expressar, não sei como falar. O ódio instalado te faz engatilhar.